Those who argue that Ethiopia and Kenya were supporting this kind of regional states because they didn't want to have a very strong central government as it was before. And therefore, Somalia not become a threat again in the region. It's good to have them divided in this, in these 5 or 6 states. I think for them to get to back to where they were, they need to have first and foremost a truth, justice and reconciliation. They need to first address that, and people have to be punished for that. But they're dying. Some of them are actually going away.
So what is it stopping for Somalia to do that, to have a reconciliation process?
I don't know. Maybe it's just their political leadership. I think it will take a long time for them to get back to where they were before. And maybe they only...
Will reconciliation hasten the process of rebuilding a strong Somalia?
Yes, a lot. My first legal work was the Somali embassy case.
Okay, tell us more about that Somali embassy case.
Somali embassy case involved a land in Silver Springs, which belonged to the Somali government, and it was sold by the ambassador of Somalia to Kenya in 1994. And some of the diplomats who were there, like the deputy ambassador and the attachés, were against the sale. And so they came to us in the law firm, Mohammed Ibrahim and myself and Ahmed Nasser, and they challenged the sale of the land. We went to court, and I explained in the book. That was my first engagement with the Somali government. Of course, we got an order from the High Court stopping the transfer of the property. Eventually, we won the case, and the land went back to the Somali government. But of course, the government was forced to pay back what was paid to that Kenyan businessman. But before that, in 1992, after the civil war, Somalis came to Kenya. And as a lawyer, from 1995, I was also dealing with them because they will come to my office. I do for them affidavits, small agreements, advise them on something, go to court for them on matters, on civil matters. So I had already began engaging with them before the Somali embassy case.
You also worked with the former Somali president, Abdullah Yusuf.
Yes, I was an advisor to the president.
Legal advisor. And you also took part in the training of the
Somali parliamentarians in Baidoa. Yes.
There is something that caught my attention during the discussion about whether they will go for devolution or regional. You strongly advised them to go for the devolution, the same thing that we have in Kenya.
Yes.
But they opted for the regional
states.
Who pushed them to go for that? Was there any external maybe interferences or any external influence that pushed them to have that regional?
That's a very important question, and I think it's a matter involving the regional politics. Somalia came from a very strong central government. Jadbare was holding it together, and so there was an attempt to bring back the same system of government. But this time, because of the civil war and the lack of trust between the communities, we had now these regional governments based on the tribes, whether it's called Puntland, Somaliland, Jubaland, all that. And I think there are those who argue that Ethiopia and Kenya were supporting this kind of regional states because they didn't want to have a very strong central government as it was before. And therefore, Somalia not become a threat again in the region. It's good to have them divided in these 5 or 6 states. That way, they can, both Ethiopia and Kenya and Djibouti can feel less safe from a strong Somalia. That's one argument, and I think it's a very strong argument. But what also you fail to understand is that civil war destroyed the trust among the community and the tribes. And there's never been a Somali reconciliation and process. They had a civil war, and no one has talked about it. There's no forum to do a reconciliation process, like in South Africa, in Liberia, in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, even in Kenya. We had a truth, justice, and
reconciliation.
Yes. What they have done is they have built the states on the bodies of the dead without even talking about how it happened. They won't go very far with that.
There are some people who poke holes on this federal system that the Somali opted for, where they blame for external forces. If you look back, was this a good option for Somalia?
No, not good. I think like I said, I have worked in Somalia.
Yes.
I've been in Mogadishu. I worked as an advisor to the Electoral Commission for almost 2 years. And what happens is when a country goes to a civil war,
Yes.
what you call the Grunnom, which is the spine which holds together the country, disappears. It takes time, a long time, to bring it back. And you see the destruction of law and order, and the fact that people grow up, get married, and even die before even a proper rule of law has been established. I think for them to get to back to where they were,
Yeah.
they need to have first and foremost a truth, justice, and reconciliation. They need to first address that, and people have to be punished for that. But they're dying. Some of them are actually going away.
So what is it stopping for Somalia to do
That.
to have a reconciliation process?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just their political leadership. I think it will take a long time for them to get back to where they were before. And maybe they only...
Will reconciliation hasten the process of rebuilding a strong Somalia?
Yes, a lot. Yeah.
I want to end this issue with the Somali. During the Monday Frimbis,
Yes.
some of the people, they were telling you, go back to Somalia. And then actually the current president of the Somalia, Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, who was then serving his first term, said, is this Ahmed a Kenyan or a Somali? And then he said, they are ready to accept you. How did that make you feel? Your fellow Kenyans are asking you to go to Somalia, and then the Somalis, they are asking you, we are ready, come to us.
Well, I mean, I've never been to Mogadishu before, and I guess even you, Suleiman, now, as a Kenyan Somali, you know what I mean when I say that there is sometimes Somaliphobia creeps into the political conversation in Kenya. When and you see it on Twitter or on social media, something happens, and then, for example, like you will see that, for example, like now, Adam Barrow Ali is being touted to be a possible deputy president, and you will see a lot of comments about Somaliphobia coming in. So there is this element that comes in that you are not really a Kenyan, you belong somewhere else, and that, I think, is used to demean you as an insult to the individual. So that time, they were carrying two placards. One, of course, that we are corrupt, we have been paid, and the other was dead or alive, Issack Hassan wanted, and then go back to Mogadishu. But it was a very bad episode for me.
Yes.
And but the bigger point is Kenyan Somalis are as Kenyan as any other community, and I think it's very unfair to always tag us with Somalia. Yeah.